All right. So thank you, everybody. Hopefully you still have some gas in the tank because we have a 40-minute session here where Dereck from North Dakota State University Foundation, I don't know, is that up around Williston? That's where my uncle was around up in Williston.
Really? No, it's in Fargo, the east side of the state.
East side. Okay. Williston's left side. I just remember it being cold when we went and when I visited him as a kid.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so Dereck's going to come in and talk to you about building a gift officer metrics report in Power BI. So obviously this Power BI, like Dereck and I were just bantering about, has been a hugely popular topic in this year's BB Dev Days. So definitely looking forward to seeing all the goodness here. So Dereck, I'm going to go on ghost mode. And if you have any questions or if you have any issues, just let me know. Or if you need to know if any questions are popping in, let me know and I'll be here to reply.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay. Well, hello, everyone. Big thank you to everybody who's attending this session on building a gift officer metrics report in Power BI. Hopefully everyone's been enjoying and learning lots at this conference. I know I sure have. So without any further ado, let's get started. A quick little bit about me. My name is Dereck Ostdahl. I'm a business intelligence developer at the North Dakota State University Foundation. I've been here for almost 2 years. We'll be 2 years in August. NDSU is a student-focused land-grant research university located in always sunny, always warm, always scenic Fargo, North Dakota. Our mission at the foundation is to build enduring relationships that maximize advocacy and philanthropy to support NDSU. We have a student enrollment of around 12,500 as of the fall of 22, and we have approximately 95,000 living alumni to NDSU. I have about 1.5 years of experience working with Power BI. In my previous job, I got exposed to it a little bit, but it wasn't really like my main focus or anything. So it's been exciting to have a role now where this is what I'm doing a lot more of. When I first got to the foundation, they were using Tableau, but we switched to Power BI in the fall of 21. So since then, I've been working mostly extensively with PBI. This is my second time attending BB Dev Days, but my first time ever presenting anything. So definitely, happy and grateful for this opportunity here. So let's dive into the business scenario that we set out to solve. So towards the end of last year, some folks in our development staff requested that we, think about upgrading how we are sharing our metrics with our gift officers. Gift officer, we call them development directors. You may hear me interchange those terms or see references to development director, but think gift officer as well. So the prior method to how they were receiving updates on their metrics was that once a month an email would get sent out with links to static PDFs and Excel spreadsheets, and everybody could see everybody's metrics and their progress and things like that. So one of the requests that came through was that we wanted to be able to restrict the access so the gift officers could only see their own data, but we also wanted to allow the supervisors and maybe some members of our senior leadership team to be able to view all of the data on and all of the pages of the report too. So we were able to accomplish that with row level and page level security. This was my first time ever implementing any type of security on a report, so it was a little scary at first, a lot to learn, but and definitely a lot of different methods or ways to approach how to do this. We found one way that works for us, but it's not like it's the only way, and we'll kind of dive into that a little bit more. Additionally, the scope of this report was one of, if not like the most, or in terms of it was like the largest, that I've worked on, in terms of compiling all of the data, pulling it out of Razor's Edge, conceptualizing the report design and the functionality, and then in terms of just like the number of end users who are, could potentially be viewing it. it was the largest in scope so far, so it was a good challenge. And it's also a good way to show like how the Power Platform can, work together. Another request was that it be readily accessible at any time and as up to date as possible as well. And so publishing it to Power BI really allows it to be available at any time, whether it's on your computer or your mobile device. And we're currently working on having the report be, as up to date as can be. There's still some progress to be made there, but I think we're on a good trajectory so far. How we're connecting our data, we're pulling it out of RE, is that we're using queries in RE traditional, and then we're using the Q module to refresh and export the queries to the server each night. We also have a Power Automate workflow then that goes out and grabs those exports and then brings them into a OneDrive location. And then the Power BI report is connected to those files that sit in the OneDrive. And then we also have the report is set up to do a daily refresh as well. So we spent January to March of this year just really working on the development and the automating of the data workflow, and then also the report design itself too. We launched in the middle part of March to start getting some feedback from our development staff. From the staff that we've heard so far, the overall experience has been positive. However, there does appear to be, some staff that haven't, utilized it, fully yet. So, part of that could be, maybe some more education about Power BI is needed. And so, hopefully, more and more usage will come up, but we're still kind of early in the process here. During my research, there was tons of ways to approach creating a report like this, but at the end of the day, I tried to, keep it simple and simple for the end user in mind, keeping them in mind, because they're going to be the ones interacting with it. And so you want to create a report that can be easy to navigate and engaging as well. And in this report, I really, discovered the power of using bookmarks. We'll kind of dive into that a little bit more, but bookmarks, they just add another level of dynamic interactivity, with your report. It helps provide, just a good user experience, and kind of helps you maximize some page real estate as well. As mentioned earlier, some of our metrics we're able to update daily already, but there are some, like our opportunities or proposals, that's a little bit more of a manual process on our end right now. So we're trying to, see if we can't improve that. That gets updated once a month, whereas the meetings and stuff like that that are happening each day are getting updated daily. So enough of PowerPoint. Let's go to Power BI. Okay, so can everybody see a Power BI report? Thumbs up. Okay, good deal. Okay, so I'll do my best to pause for questions in the middle of the presentation, and then we can have more time for Q&A at the end. But I just want to make sure I get through everything first here. So the focus of this presentation is going to be more so on the report design and the functionality, but I would like to spend just a couple of minutes real quick setting up or going through the data model, because as I've worked with Power BI more and more, I understand that now having a well set up data model makes your job with building the visuals a lot easier, or a lot less headaches and things like that too. So real quick, here's the data model. I have two fact tables. One is pulling in all of our actions, so like our visits and our meetings and stuff like that. And then we have another one for proposals, so our opportunities. I have a dedicated date table, as well as a gift officer table that has all of their information in it as well. And as you can see, we have a page security table that is tied to the gift officer table right here. And I'll actually let's go check that one out real quick. So This table, as I alluded to, we want to have some page level security applied to this report. So this approach allows us to essentially assign users like what pages they can access. For the most part, you're seeing everybody has access to the metrics dashboard, but we have a few individuals who can view a couple of the other pages too. So this kind of helps restrict which pages people are able to access. We'll go back to the data model. And then I also have 3 tables that are disconnected over here. I have just a table where I house all of my DAX measures. I have a table that is finding out or calculating our latest refresh. And then this metrics table right here is used, it's actually a field parameters table, which we'll touch base on in a little bit too. But that is used for one of our, just one report page. But in a nutshell, that is how we have our data model configured for this report. So if we go back to the report view, this first page is the title page. Everybody, when you click on the link, starts at this page right here. And this also allows us to kind of control which pages and that an individual can see based on their access level in the page security table. You also notice that the 3 pages down here are hidden. So really, that's the only page that will be available for anybody to see to start out. And right here, we just have a regular slicer, but I grabbed from the page security table. We click on this. I'm just grabbing the pages column and using that as the filler right here. So a user then would be able to choose which page they want to view. So once they select that, we have this navigation button right here. And all this is, if we go to insert, we go to button, it's just the right arrow button. And then I've assigned an action to it over here in the formatting panel. And the action is page navigation. So for destination, we need this to be dynamic. We don't want to set a fixed destination. So if we click the conditional formatting function right here, we want to go to our page security table and then click pages right here. So that way, whatever is selected here, that is going to be the page that it will take you to once you click it. So I have the dashboard selected, click that button, it brings us here, and then we have a back button as well. We want to go to the overview. So all the navigation is set from this first page right here. Okay, so that's the title page. Pretty straightforward for the most part. Let's hop into the metrics dashboard here. Now, the data that's shown here is all fake. Names, dates, dollar amounts, counts, all of that is fake. So no issues with sharing any of this info here. But this is the one page that everybody will be able to access. If you're a gift officer, you'll have access to this page, but it will be restricted to your data only. If you're a supervisor or somebody higher up, you'll have access to and see everybody's information and metrics right here too. So let's take a quick tour, of the page and kind of dive into this a little bit more. Up here, I have this percentage completion. All this is really is just a bit of DAX. I'll open up the measure real quick and we'll just take a quick peek, blow this up. So, okay, I think that's a little bit bigger. Okay. So really all we're doing is we're calculating the number of days that have occurred in the current year in one variable and setting up another one to count the number of days in the year. Now, in most cases, you probably could get away with just hard coding 365, but we also want to account for those years that are leap years. And this is a more dynamic way of utilizing your date table to count how many days are in the current year that you're in. So you can essentially create this once, and you don't have to go back in and try to account for either 365 or 366 days. With those two variables figured out, we're just dividing the two and then returning the formatted version so that it's a 1 decimal point, and then concatenating that with some text here. So that's how we get the percentage completion for the year. It's crazy to think it's already 43% of of the year has passed us already. It's going by quick. Next, we have our 6 main metrics here that we are measuring. So these are just, counts or a sum of money that is coming in. So pretty straightforward. These are all measures. I mentioned earlier my measure table. This is it right here. And then I got to be quite a bit of measures to try to keep track of. So I put everything in folders to help keep myself organized. So everything related to specific KPIs is going to be housed in its own folder. So those are the 6 key metrics right there. This middle piece right here is showing progress towards those goals. So right here, we just have a card visual with a bit more DAX. I'll bring up this example here. So you see I have it wrapped in an if function. That's because we do have a couple of individuals who don't have any goals assigned to them. Maybe either they're new development directors, or for one reason or another don't have any goals excuse me, assigned for them. So if that is the case, if their goal account or amount is 0, then this is what will appear in this card. If not, then it's going to bring back this text, and we're essentially just concatenating other measures together to kind of populate the rest of this card right here. And this piece kind of goes along with the one right above it, but it is just a bar chart, 100% stacked bar chart, with essentially all of the access information taken off. So no Y, no X, no legend, pretty bare. All we're really showing are the 2 bars, and then data label for the actual amount that is showing for that particular goal right there. And so let's see. Now the table is pretty straightforward. This is all of the underlying data. You could think of it that way, all the underlying data that's making up these totals up here. Right now, we're looking at our major gift qualifications. So if you wanted to, you could scroll through and see all 134 that are making up this metric right here. We do have, you'll see this first column is actually hyperlinked. So if I hover over this, you might be able to see it, might be kind of small, but it's actually a URL to NXT. So if an individual is scrolling through their table and wants to look up like a previous meeting or anything like that, they can click this link and it will take them to NXT into that constituent or that action record, and they can review any notes or anything that they had for that meeting. So it's a good integration between Power BI and NXT this way. And then down here, it's just a navigation button set for all 6 of the metrics. So right now we're looking at the major gifts, but if we wanted to scroll over, we can see the visits, and we can see our progress information changes and the table changes. And then same with our number of major gifts submitted and granted, and then dollar amounts submitted and granted as well. And all these are, I alluded to it earlier in the intro, but these are where the bookmarks come in. So let's touch base on that real quick here. Let's hide these. So I'll admit, bookmarks right away for me were kind of intimidating. To a certain extent, I still think that they are, but once you get the basics, or just like a baseline understanding of how they work, they can be really cool to implement in your reports. So I have my 6 bookmarks right here, and essentially what they are is they grab your visuals or report pages at a certain state in time. So you can kind of freeze it almost. If you think about it that way, you can freeze a section of visuals at a moment in time. And so what I did was, if you look at the selection pane here, this is going to show all of the elements that are on your screen. And there's quite a bit on this one page. So I've grouped together a few of them. Also, name your elements. If you're working with a lot of elements here, everything's going to be like the same name, like card 6 times, table 6 times, whatever the case is. Make sure you rename it so you your future self will thank you quite a bit. So what I did essentially was if we scroll through the bookmarks, we'll see pretty much everything up top and on the side is staying the same. But this card, this bar chart, and this table are the ones that are updating. So starting here, I have my major gift visuals grouped together. And then you can see with the other groups, they are hidden. And this one is live. So you essentially snap or get your bookmark snapped right here. And then for the visits, you'll see this one is hidden and now this one is visible. So you can kind of see the pattern, you know, like once you create it once, you can just start duplicating it, or as many times as you need to. But essentially we're hiding visuals that we don't want to see and making visible the ones that we want based on, whatever a user selects down here. And all this is right here is pretty handy, but it's a bookmark navigator. So if you go up to the buttons, it's already built in Power BI. We have the bookmark navigator. It lists out all of your bookmarks that you created. As it starts out, it's pretty standard, pretty basic looking, but you can format it to kind of match your report theme and feel as well too. But it's so easy just to be able to add this as your navigation tool instead of programming a bunch of individual buttons together. This makes it really simple to do that. So you can navigate through all of your bookmarks. The last thing I want to show real quick, and then we'll pause for some Q&A real quick. The background. So yeah, actually I lied. There's two more things I want to show. We'll look at the filter here. So if I'm a supervisor and I have access to everything, if I want to see how my team is doing, I can just click my name and all of the visuals then will adjust based to like my team. So whether I'm Dan or Ella, again, fake names, but I can see the aggregate total of what my team is doing. And if I wanted to look at a specific individual, here are all the individuals that report up to me. So this is one where like no metrics were established, so on and so forth. So second to last thing, and then we'll take a quick break here. The background, you'll notice it's got some elements. If I open my selection panel, if I expand everything, you'll see that there'll be quite a few elements, up to the side here. So one thing you can do, if you have a lot of items on your report and you're maybe concerned that if you want to have like these shapes and visuals in the background, the more stuff that you have on your page, depending on how on what your report is, it can kind of slow down or bog down the performance a little bit. So to address that, I actually created, this is just an image that I created in PowerPoint and then used it as my background to kind of overlay all of the visuals so that you don't have all the additional elements on the page. You get the benefit visually of it, but not the possible performance degradation with the additional, all the other stuff that's on the page. And this, really is it's a pretty simple, kind of use case for it. You can get really, creative if you think about it with all of the visuals and stuff that you can put in your background and then make your report, really branded as well too. So, okay, let's take just a quick pause here at this point. Let me check the chat. Goals stored. Goals stored in RE or within. Within essentially Power BI. Let me go to the table. So I have on my gift officer table, I have all their goals listed here. This is essentially just an Excel spreadsheet that I can go in and adjust as I need to. But this is where I have all the goals saved for all of our gift officers. The hyperlinks in the table column. Okay, so this we can touch base on here. So if we go back to the table view, And okay, so here's our fact table with all of our meeting information. So a part of our export is, excuse me, part of our export, we are exporting out the import ID that's assigned to the action. So you'll want to make sure that you have access to that. And I have created this this column right here. If you were to go to NXT and look at an action record, you'll probably see a very similar URL. In your case, you'll have this bit of text right here, and a number or a set of a number right here, and then like your environment ID behind it. So if you were to look at it, you'll see this set of, well, for us anyways, this 5-digit set of numbers. It is also the last 5 digits of the import ID. So what I did was I created another column and extracted the 5 digits out. So it's just this as the action ID. And then essentially you just concatenate this text and then add in this column and then add in this text and create a column just for that. You can do this using DAX to create calculated columns. I did it in Power Query, so like one level above essentially, but you can do it either way and create this column that has all of your URLs. And then you just want to make sure that you set the data category to web URL as well, so that Power BI knows that it's an address. And then I also created just this column that says view meeting, so that I could use that in the table. So once you bring the view meeting into the table here, I just deleted the title. So if you go to cell elements and then the series, this is going to list all the columns. Again, since I just deleted it, it has an empty space. It doesn't look like anything. And then you want to turn on over here web URL. And then for the conditional formatting, you want to point it to that contact report link that you create, where it concatenates the entire web URL. And then once you hit OK, it will turn into a clickable link. And you can do that for the meetings. I also did it for the proposals as well. The URL will be a little bit different, but if you look at any opportunity in NXT, you'll be able to see some of the how it's laid out anyways, and you can kind of go from there. Okay. All right, I do want to keep moving forward. Let's come back to some Q&A towards the end here, but I want to make sure we get through everything. Let's get to the next page here. So this is our metrics overview. Now, if you're a gift officer, you're not going to be able to access this page. It's only for supervisors and maybe like the senior leadership staff. So what this allows us to do is take a look at one metric and just kind of see how it's getting broken out at an individual level. We can see the total here and then broken out by individual as well. And we can scroll through our metrics and see how things are shaken out. Now, if you notice, these are all measures, all DAX measures that were created. So what I did, this was the first time I've utilized this, field parameters. So if we go to modeling and then new parameter and field parameter. So what I did, you can see it over here. I named it metrics, so I'll do the same here. So from here, I went to my measures table, and essentially you just drag and drop what you want to be able to group together. I won't do all of them. You can kind of get the idea here, but I'm grouping the 6 key performance indicators that we're tracking, and I want to group them together so that I can slice on them or use them in a slicer. So once you have your measures included in here, click create. I won't do that since it's already there, but once you do that, if we go to the table view real quick, it generates this DAX code for you automatically, and then it's just a very small table, and then it puts it in a sort order for you as well. Well, once you get to that point, you can bring this over a little bit, grab that parameter column and start putting it into a slicer, and then all of your measures are listed right here. and then you can start slicing on them that way. And then with this, it's just, a simple bar chart, but using the parameter as the x-axis, and putting in like your development director or your gift officer over here, it will automatically adjust the access size based on whatever your measure is calculating. So that's really slick. Okay, and I essentially just wanted to give the end users a couple of ways to slice the data too. So, again, if you're a supervisor, if you want to focus in on your team, you have this option here. If you want to be able to slice by job title, we have a few different levels of gift officer. You can slice it by that way. Or if you wanted to break it down, individually, or like if we look at the two Dans here, if you want to see who the superior Dan is, then you can, multi-select a few different, individuals here too. Okay, so that is it for this page. How are we doing on time here? Okay, I think we got about 10 minutes left. So this is just an aggregated metric. So this is giving us a view, all 6 metrics at once, and seeing how we're doing in terms of our goals and our completion. This one, just using the gauge visual, that's standard with Power BI. Let's get rid of these here. The only thing that's kind of maybe a little bit more different or outside of the box is I'm using some conditional formatting to color code the bars based on the percentage completion. That's just with some DAX, and then same with the title up here too. The name of the KPI that we're tracking, and then I've also included the percentage completion. I mean, if you hover your mouse over it, you'll be able to see it too, but I thought it might be better just to bring it, right away so somebody can just easily take a look at that as well. Okay, so the last part I want to touch base on is the role level security aspect of this. So again, we want to be able to restrict certain access depending on what your availability for it is going to be. So with role level security, under the modeling tab, if we go to manage roles here, actually, let's do this real quick. I'm going to go back to the gift officer table and highlight 2 things real quick. So for role level security, we are really dependent or using this column at the individual level, and then this one as well too. You'll notice it's just all access, and it's tied to everybody's account really. So keep that in mind for this next part here. But if we go to our roles, the way that I approach this is that I created individual security roles for the gift officers so that it's tied, their access is tied directly to whatever their name is attached to between the 2 fact tables. So we have this, our gift table right here, and this role for Bella will restrict her access to anything that's tied to her name. Same with Carol, Carolyn, Dan. All of the individual gift officers essentially have their own roles created for them. If you are a supervisor or a member of the senior leadership staff, we will assign you to this all access role, which is dependent on that supervisor 2 column for all access. So that gives them the ability to see everything. So, with that in mind, let's take a look at how it all kind of comes together. So I have my report and I've published it out to the service. So once you publish it to your workspace, you'll have your report and your data set here. Now, to begin, we'll go to the settings, or excuse me, security. Under the data set, we'll go to security. And here you'll see all of your roles that you created in desktop in the service here. And what you'll do is you'll go and you'll add the individual email address to each person so that it's tied to them directly. And then for the all access, you can enter your multiples supervisors and whoever else you want to have full access to the report for. And so let's take a quick peek. Let's test one of these out. So for Carol, if we go to the ellipses, we can test out our role before we add anybody. Okay, so if we look up top here, we can see we're now viewing it as Carol, as a gift officer. So I have my my page options right here, and only metrics dashboard shows up because of that page level security table that we discussed earlier. Now, if I click this, it brings me to the metrics dashboard, and everything is filtered through the lens of Carol. So all of the totals up here are pertain to her. All of the information, like in the tables, are pertaining to her, and all of her goal information and progress pertain to her. If we look at, this filter right here, we can see only Carol's name shows up, and we can see who her supervisor is. But everything is brought down just to Carol's level of detail. If we choose another one, let's choose Dan. Again, metrics dashboard is the only thing that shows up, and everything is filtered to Dan. Now, if we go to the all access, if you were assigned this role, you can see all 3 pages appear. So if we go to the metrics dashboard, see all of the data, and you can filter between the 2 supervisors, and you can have access to all individuals as well. If you want to go to the metrics overview, you can go to this page, start viewing information about the metrics piece, and then of course the aggregated to get kind of like a bigger view of all the metrics all on one page here. So that is essentially all that I've prepared to share with you. Some of the lessons learned, and there was quite a bit that I learned putting this together, but lots of DAX measures. I think there was over 50. For me, that's quite a bit, but again, kind of keeping everything into a folder definitely helped keep everything organized a little bit. Bookmarks, again, can't speak highly about using bookmarks enough. Really kind of add another level to the reporting, and again, really maximize your page real estate. I was able to fit 6 KPIs all on one page, as opposed to creating 6 pages, 1 for each. So can really help maximize your page space. The role level and the page level security, first time ever using something like that. So it was a learning experience. Again, there's probably a few different ways you could approach it, but this is what was, it works for us anyways. And then field parameters, never used field parameters before. And so that was the first time kind of experiencing the use of field parameters, and big fan. And this is really just like a good example, I think, of being able to create one report, but still address, multiple levels of end users, whether you're, at the supervisor level or the individual gift officer level too. So, okay, I think we just have a couple minutes left. Let's try to get some more Q&A here. And the number of visits metric, is that specific to the fundraisers portfolio? Yes. Well, I mean, it's at the individual level it is specific, but depending on how you have the data sliced, it will, adjust based on what's being sliced. So it could be aggregated, everything together, or just at the individual level. Okay, Elizabeth, the hyperlinks. Okay, we went through the hyperlinks. Okay, Britt, did you use developer to develop the coding for you, or did you have a background in coding? I do not have a background in coding at all. I business major, nothing to do with computer science. I took once I got this job, I started taking some classes on data modeling and DAX through the SQL BI. That is a great resource. The website, the YouTube channel, they have a lot of great resources to learn, and YouTube has been my best teacher as well. So a lot of great resources that are out there, free and paid too, but I definitely didn't have any kind of a coding background at all. Let's see. Hallie, is the report shared on community? It is not shared on community. I suppose I could look into how to do that, but no, nothing is shared yet. Let's see here. Kelly, do your gift officers and other staff have a license to access the reports? So yes, our gift officers all have Power BI Pro licenses. That's how they're able to view the report. Once we publish them to the workspace, then you need to have a Pro license. But I know you can get nonprofit pricing from Microsoft. So I forget how much it is off the top of my head, but it's pretty cost effective, I guess, depending on how many end users you end up having, but everybody does have their own license. $3 a month. Thank you. Yep. So pretty cheap. And then the links, Rachel. Okay, so yeah, we did talk about the links, the fixed background image. Did you disable dynamic resizing? Oh, well, that's a good question. I don't think anybody views the report on mobile. I don't know if it is set on dynamics. I'd have to check myself, but it is. That's a good question. I am not 100% sure, but it should. I think it should resize, automatically for you. Let's see here. And yeah, Sam, the pricing from Tableau to BI played into it, and just the ability to share. You can share through the browser very easily, whereas I believe with Tableau you kind of have to have a separate program to be able to view. And from an IT standpoint, like everybody had to have it installed on their computer, and so it's just a lot more upkeep. So I don't think that took off as well. But yeah, that was one of the reasons why we switched over to Power BI. I'm now seeing that I'm 2 minutes over, so I apologize. If we need to get ready for the next speaker at all, but if there's any other questions,
we've got just a couple more minutes. Yeah, we bumped up the next session, which is on Power BI as well with ChatGPT, and just to try to get today's sessions done before the closing ceremony kicks off later after this next session. So it's starting at 10 minutes before. So if you got a couple more minutes.
Okay. Well, yeah, certainly. Happy to answer any more, questions or review, go over some of the, parts of the report. If anybody's interested at all, or if you think of something later on, feel free to shoot me an email or find me on LinkedIn. Be happy to, answer any kind of questions or talk Power BI as well.
All right. So like I said, I shared a link to the survey in the chat. So please make sure you take the survey and give Dereck some kudos there. And again, if you have any questions, his info. Dude, this looks great. Other than the bison colors, this looks really good, though, I will say. So this stuff is amazing. I know it's not magic, but it's about as close to data magic, I think, as you can possibly get. So your self-training is really well done. I think all of us sitting here watching this and thinking, okay, who trained you? How'd you? So this is pretty amazing stuff, man. I really appreciate you sharing this.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's just a lot of, as I mentioned, a lot of trial and a lot of error, and getting feedback from others too. Especially with the layout and design, and how you start to think about how people are going to interact with your report. So getting that feedback on is critical too. And I know it's a lot of these things, like as I mentioned, it's the first time I've ever really utilized some of this stuff. So you start small, but then know that you can grow in a period of time and learn quite a bit of other things. And there's still so much more to learn about Power BI. Again, I've only been doing this like a year and a half, but it's been great career change from what I was doing, for sure.
Well, hopefully next year for Dev Days, around this time next year, we'll be able to bring you back in and seeing what like the next phase was, or what the next data management tool you built up and stuff. So definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, I would be happy to.
All right, perfect. All right, well, thanks again, Dereck. Again, if you have any questions, I mean, one of the great things about Spatial Chat is you can stalk anybody you want. So I'm sure, Dereck, you're going to have somebody pinging you. If you're in this room and you are wanting to attend the Maximize Power BI Report Insights with ChatGPT, that one's going to be kicking off here in 5 minutes. So it's not at the top of the hour. We're going to kick it off 10 minutes early. So you can just go grab you a quick cup of coffee, use the restroom, whatever it is you may want to do. And we'll get started here in just a second. Thanks, Dereck.
Right. Thanks, everybody.